Today in Abstractus, Las Meninas. Continuing from last week on mixed media, today I'm going to use a 17th century classic, La Menina by Diego Velázquez, and do it in a modern way, a la Banksy, a modern graffiti artist. So to do that, first of all, I've done what I did last week, which is basically cover the white canvas with, again, text taken from Wikipedia describing Las Meninas. Like I said last week, this is going to work purely as an effect on a subliminal way, because parts of this text will come through the final painting. So I'm no expert in Las Meninas, but obviously I've been studying it for this particular project, and I know there's a few things about it that are very important. First of all, what I particularly like is the idea of space. There's a huge difference between the background where José Nieto is opening the door and the foreground where La Infanta, the maids and the Infantas are situated. Secondly, there's a lot going on in Las Meninas. There's a lot of innuendos. Velázquez, the painter, is looking at the viewer. The viewer supposedly is the king and queen of Spain. The Infanta is being sort of courted by all her maids. So there's a lot of interesting things happening. Okay, so following that, I want to incorporate, first of all, I want to cover this with color. I want to get rid of the whiteness of the canvas. For that, I want to use basically a cold color for the foreground to push it back, and a warm color in the bottom bit to bring it forward. Okay, so I'm going to use cerulean blue mixed with burnt amber, which makes a very cold gray. And then for the foreground, I'm going to use an ochre sort of yellow, which will bring it forward. This is the effect of the painting when you look at it. Background in the distance, foreground right in front of you. Okay, first I'm going to start with cerulean blue, which, although a lot of people might think is a warm color because it's a light blue, it's quite a cold blue. It's very icy. If you look at the color when I pour it on the canvas, it's closer to green than it is to red. So then that makes it a cold color. Mixed with the burnt amber, which is a brown, it creates a very, very interesting grey. And funny enough, because that's sort of a reddish brown in a way. So together they should mix into a very interesting grey once I poured enough of it. So the idea, like I said earlier on, is to make the top part of the painting as in La Menina itself, and if you look at it, you realize it. It's a very sort of cold blue, which gives you that feeling of space. That and the perspective used by Diego Velázquez. Okay, I'm going to use a squeegee for this. You saw me using it the other day, I think. And basically, it's just drag that along till about halfway. And as you can see, the text is still visible. I want the text to be seen in the background. But like an effect as opposed to literal. I turned the canvas around because I like to work towards me with a squeegee. And now I'm going to use a warmer yellow. Not quite a warm yellow, but it's ochre, which again is yellow. And yellow is always warm. Although lemon yellow is colder than warm yellow, or cadmium yellow. Anyway, now I'll do the same process. See, the typography, the letters come through, and you can read it, but they're not blatantly, they're not part of the painting, as it were. It's like an effect, it's a background effect. Meets halfway and the colors mix up there. And that's now probably ready for drying. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a while now. While that is drying, I'm going to show you the next stage, which is creating the stencils for the actual images that are going to go on top of that. So for that I need the computer. The first thing I've done now is prepare a dummy of how I want the painting to look, mainly composition wise. Remember the Menina is a rectangle, and I'm going to be using a square format. So I've more or less moved all the individual elements, all the characters, and keeping the composition that Velázquez used, I've adapted it to my interpretation. Some figures are in whole, others are just the face I've used. To create a new Menina, what I'm doing is a completely new Menina based on the original one. Once I know the actual size each figure is going to be, then there's an extremely painstaking process, which is from the printouts, which I'll show you how I got to those. Then I have to painstakingly cut out each of the stencils by hand. I've used normal printout paper, photocopy paper, which is okay for a short usage, a couple of times, 2 or 3, 4 times maximum. If you want longer lasting stencils, you can use acetate, there's special films, and those you can use not never ending, but quite a few times. Here are a few samples. Now, I think it's time now to show you how I came about getting this end result. Okay, now, first thing is I need a good image of La Menina. What I do is Google images, Google search La Menina, go to images, and then within images select high res. That gives you a high resolution image which you can work with. Following that, we have to cut out each individual figure very roughly, because at the end of the day there's going to be an effect done on it. Once I've cut out the figure, we can then add the second effect to it. Okay, we now have the cut out image. First thing I'm going to do is take away the color or convert it to black and white. There's 2 ways of doing it, by either black and white or by desaturar or take away the tonality, converts it into black and white. Now that we have the black and white image, the next phase is adding a filter to it. There are loads of different filters out there that will convert it into clear black and white, what we call in the graphic industry line, black or white. For that I'm going to use a filter called Tampon. I've now got my image there. It's very rough, you can't see anything, and it's a matter of adjusting the levels till you get the desired effect. And obviously if you go too much detailed, like you see there, it's going to take longer to cut, so that's too much. So I'll bring the level down to somewhere where the image is recognizable and basically just play around with it. You see I'm increasing the black now, so that's going to make it a lot easier to cut out. I'd say that's about it. I've got the levels recorded, 34 and 6. I'm going to play around with it a bit more. You see, that's lost it. Somewhere around, I don't know, 6, I think it was. That's it. Now we have the printout of the image we're working of the Infanta.